Hello, this is Julie, and welcome to this 20-minute everyday yoga. Finding a comfortable seat, placing the hands on the knees, and then when you're ready, close down the eyes. Beginning practice here today. Bringing the awareness inside and finding a nice tall spine, stacking each vertebrae on top of another, finding a balanced position through the head and the rest of the spine. And then relaxing the shoulders, letting the weight fall into the hands and then the knees and the lower body. And then bringing your awareness to the breath. Slow, deep inhalation and an even longer exhalation. And breathing in and out through the nose. One more deep inhalation in through the nose. And our next exhalation, sighing it out through the mouth. Gently opening the eyes. Then placing your right foot in front, left foot closest to the pelvis. And then bringing the right hand on top of the side of the head, stretching the left arm out. And then taking a neck stretch here. And one more deep breath here, avoiding pulling the head. Just letting the weight of the hand do the stretch. Then inhale, bring the arms overhead. And exhale, folding to the right side. Let's take a side body stretch here. You can come onto the elbow to deepen, but if your sit bones of the left hip start to lift, stay on top of the hands. And one more deep breath. And inhale, coming back up. Switching the placement of the feet. So left foot comes out in front, right foot towards the pelvis. And taking our neck stretch. So left hand on the right side of the head, folding over to the left. Stretching the right arm out. And one more deep breath. And releasing, taking our side stretch. So inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, folding to the left. And bringing awareness to that top arm. See if you can straighten out through the shoulder, through the elbow, and the fingers. Pulling that arm straight. One more deep inhalation. And deep exhalation. And then coming up to seated. Let's take some seated cat-cows here. So on our next inhalation, pushing the belly and the chest forward and looking up and back. And then exhale, rounding the back, looking in towards the navel. So inhale, arching and looking up, exhale, rounding. And take that a couple more times in your own pace. Exaggerating the movement in the pelvis here. And coming back to neutral. Let's place the feet on the floor, hip distance apart. So bending the knees, placing the hands behind the hips. And then on your next inhalation, lifting the hips up towards the sky to reverse tabletop position. Bring the head back in line with the spine. Strong core here, slow, steady breathing. So deep inhalation and exhale, activating through the core, pushing down through the heels a little bit more. And again, deep inhalation and exhale, activating. And then lowering down the hips onto the ground. Bring the right ankle over the left knee and take a figure four position with the legs here. And then inhale, pushing belly and the chest forward. So proud chest here. If you find that you're rounding through the back, then pulling the feet a little bit further away to give you more space here. Keeping this position with the legs, and then pushing through the hands and the feet, and lifting the hips up to a reverse tabletop with a figure four variation. So lifting and holding, bringing awareness to the hips, making sure the hip bones are in a straight line so the right hip isn't dipping, lifting and squeezing, pulling that right knee down towards the ground, and then exhale, lowering. Let's switch sides. So left ankle, placing it over the right knee, and taking a seated figure four stretch, pushing the belly and the chest forward. Drawing that left knee away from the body. One more deep breath here. And then getting ready to lift, so pushing through the hands and the right heel, lifting those hips up towards the sky and holding. See if you can lift the hips a little higher. So shoulders, hips, and knees on a straight line here. Deep inhalation and exhale, activating a little bit more, maybe lifting those hips a little higher. And exhale, lowering the hips down to the ground, releasing the legs. Okay, let's find our way onto hands and knees. So wrists underneath the shoulders, knees hip width distance. And inhale, finding our cow, and exhale, rounding through cat. And again, inhale, rounding and arching. Exhale, pushing the floor away, looking into the belly. Take that a couple more times at your own pace, as slow as you need. And then setting the hips back onto the heels. Let's bring the knees out to a wide-legged child's pose. And then grounding the hips. And then exhale, drawing the hands out in front of you, elongating the spine. And before settling to the stretch, then planting the palms. Inhale, lifting the chin, looking through the hands, lengthening a little bit more through the spine. And then on your exhalation, lowering the belly, the chest, and finally the forehead. And settling into the pose here, making sure the glutes are still pulling towards the heels as much as possible. Elbows are lifted. And deep inhalation all the way into the belly, into the chest, and exhale, settling into the pose a little bit more, relaxing. And then coming up onto your hands and knees once again. Let's find a high plank. Let's step the feet on to the outside of the hands. I'm gonna face forward so you can see. Then we'll land in our Malasana, our yogi squat. So palms coming together in front of the body, elbows pushing into the knees. And let's begin with elbows pushing out, knees pushing in. So pushing against each other. Arches of the feet are lifted, nice long spine here. Avoid any curving of the spine. And one more deep breath here. Continuing to stay in this pose, but let's change the direction of the knees so the knees start pulling outwards instead. And let's set the right hand over to the right and the left arm stretching it diagonally back, looking up towards that left hand. Making sure that left knee doesn't cave in, keeping it in place. One more deep breath. Let's take a side bend here. So left arm comes over the head, stretching a little bit more over to the right side. Still maintaining the legs locked in place, pulling out. And bringing the hands together in front of the heart, switching sides, so left arm reaches over to the left, looking diagonally back to the right. Slow, steady breathing. On your exhalation, pulling the belly in, activating through the core. And reaching that right arm overhead. And coming back to center. And then inhale, lengthening the spine a little bit more, then reaching those arms overhead. We'll stay here for a couple deep breaths. Still continuing to maintain the arch in the foot, pulling those knees out to the side. Doesn't look like much, but it's a very active stretch. And exhale, bringing the hands in front of the heart. Then we'll lower the fingers onto the ground and lift the hips up. Rolling through the back, coming up to standing. Placing the hands in front of the heart. On our next inhalation, lifting the arms overhead, looking up, and tiny back bend here. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, the right foot steps back, finding a low lunge. And then exhale, pushing back to a downward facing dog. Deep inhalation here. And then exhalation, lowering the knees, chest and chin down to the ground, elbows pulling in. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, tucking the toes, pushing back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps between the hands, low lunge. And exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lifting the arms overhead, looking up, and tiny back bend. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And again, inhale, lifting arms up over the head, tiny back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left foot steps back, low lunge. And exhale, pushing back to downward facing dog. Deep inhalation. And exhale, knees, chest, and chin, lowering to the ground. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, pushing back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg steps between the hands, low lunge. Exhale, joining the feet, folding forward. Inhale, rising up, looking up towards the hands and folding back. And exhale, hands in front of the heart. And again, inhale, looking up and back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, right leg steps back, low lunge. And exhale, downward facing dog. Deep inhale. And exhale, knees, chest, and chin lowering. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, pushing back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg steps in between the hands, low lunge. And exhale, joining the feet, folding forward. Inhale, looking up and back. Exhale, hands in front of the heart, left side. Inhale, looking up and back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, left leg steps back, low lunge. And exhale, pushing back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin lowering. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, pushing back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps in between the hands, low lunge. And exhale, joining the feet, forward fold. Inhale, rising up, looking up and back. And exhale, hands in front of the heart. Let's release the arms. Stepping the right leg to wide legged position, we'll take a forward fold. So exhale, folding from the hips, bring the fingers around the big toes. You can also grab around the ankle if that's more comfortable. On your next inhalation, lifting the chin, lengthening through the spine, and exhale, folding forward. We'll stay here for a couple deep breaths. So deep inhalation all the way into the belly, and exhale, finding a little bit more length, and then lowering. So we're thinking belly is reaching towards the inner thighs. Head is reaching down towards the ground. Then inhale, coming up to standing, journeying the feet at the top of the mat. Coming into Amalasana once again, so I'll face forward for you. So lowering the hips into your yogi squat. Inhale, lifting the arms over the head. Strong legs and hips here. Let's lower and find a seated position. So stretching the legs out in front of you. Flexing the feet. Inhale, lifting the arms over the head. Pulling the belly in, tilting the pelvis forward. Exhale, folding from the hips. Keeping a micro bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, folding forward. 5 deep breaths here. Keeping a soft gaze at the toes. Putting more emphasis on the exhalation. Inhale, coming up to seated. Let's bring the right foot to the inner side of the left thigh. Take a one-legged forward fold. So inhale, reaching overhead. Exhale, folding forward, grabbing onto the leg wherever feels comfortable. Inhale, lengthening through the spine and lifting the chin. Exhale, folding forward. And inhale, coming up to seated, switching the position of the legs. So left leg on the inside of the right thigh. Inhale, lifting the arms overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, folding a little deeper. Avoiding too much of a hunch in the back. And inhale, coming up to seated. Okay, let's lower down onto our back. And we'll come into our plow pose. If you want to transition through shoulder stand on the way, feel free to do so. I'm just going to bring my feet directly over the head and onto the ground. If the toes don't reach the ground, no worries. You can just let them hover. Or if you have a block, you can place them on top of the block, add some height. And you can also keep a generous bend in the knees. And then placing the palms onto the ground. And if the feet are reaching the floor, then pushing the feet firmly into the ground. And if you're comfortable here, you can maybe bend the knees, aiming to push the knees around the ears. Really making sure to slow down the breathing here. And then we'll get ready to come out of this position, so gently rolling out. And then we'll find our way into our Shavasana. So releasing the arms down by the side, palms facing up. A little bit of distance between the legs, feet are rolling out to the side, and then closing the eyes. Finding stillness here for the last few moments of practice. So relaxed body, relaxed natural breath, and relaxed mind. And then deepening the breath, coming back to the body. And when you're ready, rolling over to the side in a fetal position, moving nice and slowly. And then coming up, finding a seated position. Resting the hands on the knees. And just checking in with the body one final time. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhaling out through the mouth. And one more time, deep breath in. Exhaling out through the mouth. Bring the hands in front of the heart. And then bowing down. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.